shield must yield. If he's led to a fight and a duel is due, then the red and the white and the blue will come through.
Captain America: Civil War is loosely based on the Marvel Comics crossover series of 2006 by Mark Millar and Steve McNiven. While many superhero movies that have a blueprint of a comic book to follow do so doggedly, Captain America: Civil War borrows mostly the title. The issue here, rather than full-blown registration and control of superhumans, is more about accountability. We're reminded early on that there is frequent collateral damage during conflicts between metahumans. The proposition in response is that our heroes should surrender operational control to a broader body, which would then sanction and direct their missions. This is an interesting point, but mainly serves as motivation rather than being more deeply explored. But the movie doesn't suffer as a result. Directors Anthony and Joe Russo keep things up-tempo and moving to tremendous effect. The action never really lets up in this movie. It just kind of shifts from heroes fighting villains to heroes fighting heroes. Chris Evans does another terrific turn as the living legend of World War II. He exemplifies all the best qualities of a hero: leadership, loyalty, valor, virtue, courage, and conviction. I hope that this guy keeps playing the role because he has made it believable and enjoyable to watch Cap in action. Robert Downey Jr. co-stars as Iron Man, a part he made his own in the 2008 movie that launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And perhaps even more than Evans, Downey becomes Tony Stark. The character is forced to recognize and acknowledge his responsibility for the collateral damage I mentioned earlier. This fits in well with Downey's portrayal as it builds upon the very first movie in which Stark renounces his primary business as a weapons manufacturer due to the same recognition of culpability in the use of those weapons. So, the two characters end up on opposite sides, and that, as they say, is where the fun begins. Now, the biggest element of this movie is the presence of so many supporting characters. It's almost as if this was Avengers Part 3. There are a number of strong performers who reprise their roles from previous Marvel films. In particular, Scarlett Johansson as the Black Widow, Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, Don Cheadle as War Machine, and Anthony Mackie as the Falcon. And we get to see Elizabeth Olsen as the Scarlet Witch, Paul Bettany as the Vision, and Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. Other holdovers from previous movies are Emily Van Camp as Sharon Carter, William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross, and Frank Grillo as Brock Rumlow, aka Crossbones. And John Slarity and Hope Davis appear as Howard and Maria Stark. Martin Freeman, Marissa Tomei, Alfre Woodard, and John Caney also appear in key roles. But outside of the leads, two performers I thought truly outstanding were Chadwick Boseman and Tom Holland as the Black Panther and Spider-Man, respectively. It was a real delight to see the Black Panther in this movie. The character was the first black superhero in mainstream comics, and fans have clamored for this appearance for years. Boseman is an extremely talented young actor who shines as T'Challa, King of the Wakandans. I hope he has a long run in the part. Marvel has licensed many of their characters to other studios over the years, and has only recently reached an agreement with Sony that allows them to regain creative control of Spider-Man. Tom Holland is another fine young performer who is totally believable as Peter Parker. He brings an excitement and sense of awe to his portrayal, with which viewers can easily identify. And there is an actual heavy here. Daniel Bruhl plays Zemo. Although named after a longtime Captain America enemy to whom he bears no relation, the character is sufficiently motivated to mount an effort to bring down our protagonist using Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. All in all, there's a lot of action strung together by a bit of plot, but I'm not being overly critical. The idea of culpability and superhuman oversight could have been more thoroughly developed, but this movie didn't suffer from the lack of it. There are plenty of supporting characters to distract and occupy viewers and keep everything moving along. And there are ultimately some interesting questions about friendship and loyalty that are raised. I was a bit disappointed by a certain lack of resolution at the movie's conclusion, but I don't think it detracts from the overall enjoyment. And it certainly sets up a sequel. Captain America Civil War was a solid 3 stars out of 4. You won't be disappointed with this film, I guarantee it.